Since 2015, this event is rebranded as Gent-Wevelgem In Flanders Fields, and it is very much dedicated to the memory of those who lost their lives in that the Great War, they called it, almost ironically, 1914-18. And we'll see many sights and sounds across the day, including many cemeteries, and indeed so many of the graves unmarked, no identification. Lest we forget, this is what's in prospect for the riders. We're going to have a relatively fat 250 kilometre ride, 8 Hellingen, 3 Plugstreets. Forward to them. Starting in Ypres, and then the long loop for 191 kilometres up and towards the west coast. Then we head back to the Heuvelland area of West Flanders. So we work our way down the De Moeren. That's going to be fascinating. Crosswind, tail crosswind in that particular section. A long, challenging and not particularly protected affair before we make our way through to that loop, as you can see in the Heuvelland area, which includes the daunting assault on the Kemmelberg. 3 times up the Kemmelberg, the final time, and head for home. And they'll have fully 34 kilometres of racing from that final climb through to the finish line, and that's often. And this is what I promised you at the De Moeren area, as the riders headed south once more, and propelled by a sort of a wind coming off the coastline and hitting them from behind and to the side. There's nothing like a tail crosswind to cause shenanigans. They all knew it. They all lined up for it, but still it was only the very strongest that could make that front echelon of riders. And this group of 9 had opened up a pretty strong advantage of more than 4 minutes, but that little bit of excitement from the peloton behind, forcing split after split, means that the advantage of our Nano front, who are working very well together, is down to just a smidgen under a minute and a half. So they're fighting hard to make it through to the section of the course where the climbs come into play. Victor Kampenaerts spots an opportunity. Does Melissa Bike play a card? And what about that? The ease with which Victor Kampenaerts has just cruised up and onto the tail of the breakaway group. Is Melissa Bike now represented up front. Hits the Kemmelberg, we hit the cobbles. The Belvedere side, it's the longer of the two sides. It gets up to a maximum of 16% very briefly. A little 13% stretch. And these cobbles really are brutal. Albeit we've got a dry day, so that's something. But if you haven't got the power, you won't be able to deliver. And this is a really impressive display here of cobble climbing from Max Walker, the young Briton. He's 23 years of age. What a thrill it is for the man from Douglas in the Isle of Man. Meanwhile, the peloton, let's get a look at this. Not so easy to control, and they want to make it count. Want to really make the Kemmelberg an appointment to try and show what you're made of. And we're arriving in the Plugstreets. This is Hill 63, so named because, well, it was on a hill at 63 meters of altitude. Plugstreets, by the way, is an English corruption of the Dutch name, Plugstreets. As you can see, splits in abundance, but, well, a lot of riders still encompassed in one shot from the helicopter here. And here he goes, hits it again. Pedersen is absolutely flying, and who's there? Only Philipsen. Opposite de Koning, vanquished 12 months ago by the sheer class of Mads Pedersen, overcoming Mathieu van der Poel in the final sprint into Wevelgem. And has Jasper Philipsen picked up a little bit of a mechanical issue? Well, he immediately slows up, and it looks like a rear wheel puncture here. And Jasper Philipsen at a critical moment through the Plugstreets. And that's going to be key. Just how quickly can he get service? The team car, well, riders everywhere at this moment, so the team car is going to be some way adrift. And that is a hugely frustrating moment for the Alpecin de Koning squad, because Philipsen, clearly on a great day today, was welded to the back wheel of Mads Pedersen, who himself is absolutely flying. And that is an opportunity to make a difference here. And Pedersen doesn't need to be asked twice. Still nursing that half a minute lead over the best of the rest, led by the reigning champion. The gap showing at 29 seconds. Well, They've picked up a couple of riders from that breakaway group. Liepens and Jascha Sutherland. Sutherland in the Jaco Alula purple. And approaching a minute now of an advantage for a breakaway group that now includes the pre-event favourite and the reigning champion of this event. Bang! Hit the Kemmelberg. Second time of asking. Who's got the legs for this one? Campenarts fancies a bit. Second time up the Belvedere side. And the breakaway group is shattering. Pedersen's still equal to it, but it's Campenarts that's doing the damage here at the moment. Haller is still very impressive in hanging on as long as he is. But Mads Pedersen eases up onto the tail of the Belgian. And here he goes in the second half. Lights the blue touch paper. Mads Pedersen is clear on his own. Up and over the top of the Kemmelberg. And he won't be looking around and looking for assistance right now. Haller frantic to get back on terms at the front of the race. Peloton behind, starting to fracture too. And the big strong names making their appearance. And Mads Pedersen is out there, out in front and gunning for glory with just a small matter of 52 kilometres between himself and the victory today. So gap holding at 15 seconds. They need to get up front. I suppose there's not too much in the way of tactics about this one. Breakaway riders continue to be overhauled. That tells you enough as well about how committed this peloton are behind. Final fifth of the event begins now, and this is the final. It's a relatively big peloton, and you wonder when some of the other teams are just going to think about making a contribution here. Maybe they think a minute and a half to a solo rider is something that's entirely manageable for a group of this size. But these three are working well together and managing to fend off the peloton behind. Indeed, it's looking increasingly likely that they'll have enough an advantage to hold to stay ahead of the peloton. I think we're going to get a real demonstration of the power and the endurance of Mads Pedersen as he attacks the Kemmelberg, the final assault of the day, the final climb of the day. And for all that he's not a local man, he is Flandrian in character. He goes well on the cool days. And look at that, you can see he's all over the bike, desperately trying to maintain that cadence and maintain that forward propulsion. And as you get a little bit higher up here, the front wheel will start to lift. Just trying to keep that body level and flat and spread the weight across the bike. Maintain the traction on the back wheel and keep the front wheel. Right, look at Philipsen moving up on the inside for Alpecin de Koning. Very strong indeed on the approach to the climb. Anxious look over the shoulders. Looks as if their time out front could be coming to an end. Arjen Livens, who made his way over to the early break of the day in the company of Mads Pedersen, but then found himself not able to follow the pace of the Flying Dane through the gate and into the town of Ypres once more. The advantage down to 1 minute and 24 seconds. Approaching the kite, just 1,000 metres left, and time to savour the measure of the achievement. It's been an imperious success, and now he can start to enjoy the moment and take it all in, and he's ever the professional, not taking anything for granted and not risking it, but now he can start to think about it. Back-to-back wins. He's a three-time winner of Gent-Wevelgem. Mads Pedersen has taken the glory in 2025 and punches the air in delight. And the Lidl Trek squad want to try and double up. What an impressive performance that indeed would be if Jonathan Milan could nod his way to a 1-2 success. Who's going to prevent it? Well, Tim Merlier, ever the professional that he is. Binion Gourmet is in there. Christophe wobbling a bit with Gourmet as well. The man went for a long one. Merlier might just pinch this one. Well, no, I think it might have been a 1-2. It'll go to the camera. Merlier, one of the few people really in world cycling at the moment who can get the better of the Italian rider, European road race champion, doing what he had to do on the day. But collecting the trophy, a beautiful trophy indeed that it is, for his third victory, his second in succession, is the Dane Mads Pedersen. Your top three. Two from Lidl Trek and Tim Merlier, splitting them nicely. And once again, Gent-Wevelgem in Flanders Fields, delivering another epic edition, and it takes a really quality rider.